The story of Rayan the well that made millions cry. In just one moment, a quiet little village in the mountains of Morocco turned into the focus of the entire world's attention. Millions of hearts gathered around one screen, following the faint breaths of a small child trapped inside a narrow well, barely wider than his tiny body. 5 nights of prayers, tears, and desperate hope. 5 nights that held the breath of an entire village, an entire continent. This is the story of Rayan, the Moroccan boy who taught us what hope means until the very last moment. If you think you've heard all the heartbreaking stories in the world, you're wrong. Today, I'm going to tell you a story that shook the world from east to west. A story that will make you hold your children a little tighter tonight. Get ready, fasten your seatbelt because this story is unlike any other. Rayan, a 5-year-old boy from a tiny village called Igran in the Chef Kouane province of northern Morocco. Rayan was an ordinary child, running, laughing, playing on dusty village paths. His home was simple, his family humble, but their love for him was anything but simple. Rayan's father had been digging a well on his land, hoping to find water, a daily struggle for thousands of farmers in that mountainous area. Water is scarce, and the digging is often done by hand or with basic tools. No one could have imagined that this well would turn into a deadly trap for an innocent child. Water is scarce, and the digging is often done by hand or with basic tools. No one could have imagined that this well would turn into a deadly trap for an innocent child. It was an ordinary day. Rayan went out to play near the well his father was digging. No one noticed when he wandered close, until it was too late. In a split second, his small body slipped and fell inside the narrow shaft, only about 30 centimeters wide. Yes, an opening barely wide enough for a child his size. Picture it. Pitch darkness, a deep, cold pit. He couldn't move, couldn't climb back up, couldn't even cry for help for long. He screamed once, then the seconds turned into hours. When his family realized what had happened, the nightmare began. His father tried to go down to save him, but the well was much deeper than they thought, around 32 meters deep. That's when Rayan's story turned from a small household accident into a global humanitarian crisis. Word spread through the village like wildfire. Neighbors gathered, then rescue workers arrived, then the media. Within hours, Rayan's name was on everyone's lips. The civil protection teams tried to reach him, but were faced with a brutal reality. The well was far too narrow for an adult to fit, and digging it wider from the top could cause the soil to collapse on the boy. After long debates, rescuers decided to dig a parallel trench next to the well, then a horizontal tunnel to reach Rayan. Hours of digging with shovels and machines followed. Hard rocks, fragile soil that could cave in at any moment. Every minute felt like a lifetime. And the hardest moments? The camera lowered into the well to check on him. It showed his tiny body curled up at the bottom. Sometimes they could still hear his faint groans, sounds that even made the toughest rescuers cry while they worked. As time passed, Rayan was no longer just a village child. He became the world's child. Prayers poured in from Morocco, Egypt, the Gulf, Europe, Asia, America. Everyone tuned in to the live broadcast, waiting for a sign of hope. Thousands gathered near the site despite the freezing cold. Authorities pumped oxygen down the narrow shaft to keep him alive. His mother and father stayed close, holding hands, eyes red and sleepless. Around them, people wept and prayed. Everyone believed the ending would be joyful. Millions of hearts clung to a tiny hope. Rayan would come out alive, smile, and the whole world would celebrate him. But reality was crueler than hope. Fragile soil, solid rock, constant danger of collapse, even for the rescuers risking their own lives. Every delayed minute was a threat to Rayan's life. On the 5th day, after endless hours with no sleep or food, the rescuers finally reached him. They carefully lifted his tiny body from the earth as crowds clapped and chanted. Hope sparked again. Rayan was finally in their arms, but he was no longer with us. The moment they pulled his small body from the well was beyond heartbreaking, a scene that made all of Morocco and the entire Arab world burst into tears. Rayan came out of the darkness, but not alive. His tiny body could not survive the long hours of cold, thirst, and suffocation. Rayan's story is not just a tragedy. It's a huge lesson for all of us. A lesson in responsibility and vigilance. A lesson in hope and patience. A reminder that, despite how harsh this world can be, people's hearts are still pure. Millions came together for the life of one little boy. Countless prayers from every corner of the earth. Rayan left us, but his story left a mark deep inside us all. He reminded us of our humanity in the middle of all the noise and conflict. May Rayan rest in peace, and may his family find strength and comfort. Please never forget to protect your children. One small danger can become a huge tragedy if we're not careful. If Rayan's story touched you, share your thoughts and prayers for him in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell for more true stories that move the heart.